Good afternoon on what is a warm, bright and sunny day. It is Friday the 26th of April and I'm in the reading up with a nice hot cup of tea and a parcel to unbox which arrived today. So let's find out what is in here. Let's get the knife on this because it's the plastic packaging is it's just easier to slice through. Careful not to cut myself, and then what I'm going to pull out of here is Conspiracy X. This is published by, let's have a look, New Millennium Entertainment, 1996. On the surface, the world looks very much like the one outside your bedroom window. The same people are walking the same dirty streets, the same animals rummage through the same garbage, and the same mindless drivel is shown on the same television stations. Sometimes that world just doesn't seem right. You wake in the morning and get the feeling that something isn't as it should be. Why do certain figures appear out of nowhere and become famous overnight? Why do the rich get richer and the poor get poorer? What is the government really paying for when it shells out $75 for a screwdriver? Why is it? The more questions you ask, the less answers you get. Why is it? Basically, why is any answer always leads to another question? Sometimes you cannot see what defines your world. That this is the nature of conspiracies. This is the nature of Conspiracy X. Conspiracy X takes place in a world of dark secrets and hidden agendas, where the only certainty is nothing is what it seems. The president might not be human, and the sign carrying paranoid on the street corner ranting about CIA mind control satellites may very well be right. In other words, a world just like yours, if you could just see beyond the lies. Conspiracy X, pray it's only a game. Now, this is basically this is the second printing, I think, of the first edition. Originally published by New Millennium Entertainment, then published by Eden Games, and there's a GURPS version as well. But what it is a classic conspiracy science fiction role-playing game set in modern America, in which the Greys have had an influence over the course of our history, as well as other non-human factions. This is a role-playing game of conspiracies and horror that buys into the whole thing of the new millennium, UFOs, and all of that. Think of this possibly as essentially the X-Files role-playing game that never was, in a way that Delta Green, the other thing that looked awfully like the X-Files but definitely wasn't, never did. Okay, it's sort of like Delta Green is really its own thing and a lot more, and all the more interesting for it. So I picked this up because I wanted to review it, but I'm not going to review it until 2026, because I want to review it on the anniversary. So we have a look inside. You've got the side front cover. You've got both the credits down the sidebars and the contents page in the middle. And then we move on to Chapter 1, Indoctrination, and this really feels and looks like a 90s role-playing game. So fiction and story, basically setting things up. And we've got the role of the Game Master covered, as well as you've got an extensive example of play. Do like that, always like an example of play. And then we have the world according to Conspiracy X, how it came about, starting in 1933, all the way through, including most notably 1947, you've got Roswell, the sighting of UFOs, and more coming through up to the modern day of the late or mid 1990s. So yeah, the other thing to look at for this would be, would have been the same period, was Dark Skies, another conspiracy, aliens, saucers, role-playing setting, which is also pretty good. Then we move on to personalities, how to create a character, character creation. And we did play this in a bit. I don't remember. I recall the characters being particularly capable. I think that was one of my bugbears about the game originally. So we've not really looked at this in some, well, I would say almost 20 years, 25 years. And I do know that a lot of people remember this fondly. Operations and organisations for recruits, things like Central Disease Control, Central Intelligence Agency. So the parallels there are with Delta Green, but there's no Mythos. The alien conspiracy is not a cover for anything more than the alien conspiracy. And that's the key difference, as well as in here, the inspiration is obviously the X-Files, whereas the inspiration for Delta Green is not the X-Files, because it was first published after, before the X-Files, sorry. So here we've got the different roles. So you could be United States military pilot, so on, or a psychic, a member of the United States Secret Service. And we talk about character creation. I think I played a hacker when I was in the game. Really good with numbers. Almost savant-like. So here we're looking at sort of like the training list. So you can think that your zero gravity movement, communication, scuba diving, things that you can be trained in. You can have disadvantages like killer instinct and homicidal tendencies. There's an interesting combination. Phobias, poor medical history. And you've got to take some of these in order to get the advantages, if I recall rightly. So basically you can have like animal animosity, animal empathy, strong ESP, time and direction sense. Background and resources, you could be dead. Have a criminal connection, not necessarily related. And then op center, because one of the things also in setting up here is you also set up a base as well. So essentially you form a cell of Aegis. And you're working for that organisation, essentially a secret organisation, sort of like a conspiracy of its own. And you're basically trying to improve the facilities as you go along. So you get some design element in there. And it's perhaps one of those earliest role-playing games where you actually have that kind of feature where you sort of set up your own base, so on. So you've got quite a list of equipment and things that you can have. And then tradecraft, and this is moving on to how the game works. You've got more in-game fiction, basic rules, how to handle skill tests, and also, so I'm going to move on to combat and using extra sensory perception, ESP. We've got moves, both brawling moves and martial arts moves, combos, special attacks, and then of course after all that damage is dealt out, goes for recovery and healing, vehicle chases, aerial combat and chases, flying the unfriendly skies, especially if you're chasing a sorcerer or something, and things you can do during your downtime, such as instruction and training, research and development, convalescence therapy, pulling strings, essentially extending influence. Pulling strings, extending influence, essentially is basically, you know, your government, your influence over the government and the conspiracy. Then move on to psychics. The area of parapsychology, and there was a lot of interest in this in this at the time as well. Similar role players that came out at the time would have been Orpheus from White Wolf Games, essentially a variant upon Wraith. And here, you know, you would buy you know your guidance for using the Rhyme test with basically testing to see whether you are psychic using the Xena cards. Involvement of MK Ultra, but with side drugs. You know, all based on sort of like a lot of the stuff that was known about the time. You know, things like MK Ultra was a CIA program. I think dealing with interrogation. I think. Here a discussion of those various powers: clairvoyance, empathy, precognition, psychometry. More. Then we actually move on to the supernatural. And essentially ambient seepage level. It's essentially we're sort of talking about how it seeps into the real world, and how magic sort of works, but the corruption involved with the supernatural. We've got sort of like tables for the effect of corruption. And you've got various things like divination and telepathic illusion, various different powers, teleportation, ball lightning. And a discussion of rituals. And then extraterrestrials, so here we are talking the Greys. And talking about the Hermes system, which essentially is the is sort of like is the Aegis code name for the secure communications network and database, which the player characters are going to have access to. You've got various things that the Greys can inflict, like time loss and so on. Talk about grey technology, association with the Black Book of the technology and so on. And then the Game Master, her role, handling the rules, know the rules, sketch out the world and so on. Guidance, as you would expect. Some adventure ideas to get you started. And then you've got Game Master background on the Black Book, what it is and how to bring it into the game, how it connects to the aliens, to the Greys, supernatural, how it connects to the supernatural and to psychics, and basic deeper background for the Game Master. And we've got discussion of Grey psychic abilities and the technology. And then the other faction, of course, is the Atlanteans, and then the Saurians, and you've got the Men in Black involved as well. So, various different powers and abilities given to these factions, including rituals, and that's it really. We come down to essentially that's it. Then we've got the index. That's really quite sort of comes to a bit of an abrupt close. There's no adventure in here, but you do have a set of Xena cards to photocopy or even cut out and use, but I don't recommend it. And then add that for the Conspiracy X newsletter. So yeah, that's Conspiracy X from New Millennium Entertainment. Game I haven't looked at in a very long time, and I picked up basically because I saw an inexpensive copy because I want to review it a couple of years hence. Essentially, it's 2024 now. I'm thinking of writing a review of it for 2026. That's how far I'm thinking ahead, folks. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you did, then please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to get more unboxings in the Nook, where you'll see me out here with a package containing a book or game or role-playing game, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, then please do click on the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook, and we'll be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.